Welcome back to another episode of the 2023 Kawicki Driver Development Program Driver Profiles. This is episode number 2. Of course, if you missed last week's with Levon Vandergeest, you can go check that out on my channel. And this week we have the other Wisconsin driver on this episode. It's Riley Stenjem. How's it going, bud?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing well. So before we start, just to kind of give an update on how things are kind of going this year.
Yeah, obviously being in Wisconsin, the race season kind of just gets start picking up here the end of April, early May. So we raced once so far this year with the ASA Midwest Tour at the Slinger Super Speedway. The first half of the race went pretty well. We were running inside the top 5, right around the top 3, top 5 the whole first half of the race till about lap 65 out of 100. And restart or caution came out, and the car took a swing and went tight and kind of got used up a little bit. Still ended up in the top 10. Solid first outing for us. It was my first ever time in a big car at Slinger, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, so that was our only race we've ran so far this season. We're planning on really getting into the thick of our season starting next week, and I believe we don't have a week off till the 4th of July. So we're really looking forward to getting into the swing of the season.
Yeah. So take me back. What was your first memory of racing?
Yeah, it goes back a long time. When I was about probably 2 or 3 years old, my first memory of racing is probably at the Madison International Speedway. I remember my parents took me over there, and usually they would do like a kids' night where they do like a coin scramble on the front stretch. And my dad was friends with Dale Nottestad's dad from racing together back in the day.
Yeah.
And my first memory is sitting in his car. So that's probably my first memory. And then my uncle sponsored Bobby Wilberg at Madison for a lot of years. So going over there and watching them as a 2, 3 to 5-year-old kid, and then from there it was just me begging my parents to get go-kart racing, and begged long enough till I was about 12, and they finally got me a go-kart.
So when did you first get it? When did you start racing?
So yeah, I was 12 years old, the summer of after my 6th grade year, and we started racing asphalt road course go-karts at the Sugar River Raceway. And then we did that for like 3 years. So yeah, did asphalt road courses for 2 full years, and then the 3rd year we did asphalt road courses and dirt ovals and go-karts.
Did you wish you started earlier?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, 12 is probably a little late to get going, but
No, it's
never.
not.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like sometimes if you start a kid at 5 years old, now seeing it from the outside looking in, kids, I don't really know necessarily how much you're going to learn at the age of 5, between like the age of 5 and 8. Like, I feel like 8 to 10 is probably a pretty good age to get going. And maybe if I could have got going a little bit earlier, maybe would have made it to late models a little bit sooner. But it's all worked out just fine, and I'm happy with where my career's at so far.
Yeah, I know. I mean, a lot of drivers have started late. I mean, Noah Gregson's one. I think he started when he was like 12 or 13. And Connor Mozak, I think, started when he was like 18, 19, or 20. And look where he is now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's never too late to start a dream out there, bud. So let's what was your like best memory of racing in go-karts? Like, take me back to like the first time you got in one. What was that like? Just like, I'm actually in one of these things.
Yeah, so I guess my first memory would have been at the Sugar River Raceway. They have like rental carts, and I guess that would have been my first memory. We went down there and we did like the rental races there for a little bit, just in before we bought one. And yeah, just that feeling of speed was pretty cool. And then I knew right then that I wanted to start our own deal and get our own go kart and get going. And it was pretty cool. My first year, I think we started like halfway through the year and kind of just worked our way up to it. We didn't really 100% know what we were doing. I obviously didn't know what I was doing. But after that second year, we started winning a lot of races, and that was when it really made it really fun for me.
Yeah. So let's go into like when you were about when did you stop racing go-karts?
Yeah, so we raced them till I was 14, I believe. My last year, we won the championship in the Junior 2 division or whatever, racing go-karts at Sugar River, and then we won a couple races on the oval stuff. Then after that, we moved to legend cars when I was 15, and that was where I really started getting into the asphalt oval stuff. We did a little bit of asphalt oval and go-karts, but for me, it was my first time being on a lot of these Wisconsin short tracks. And with the legend cars in Wisconsin, you can race on a lot of the same tracks that you race late models at. So it was a good way to get my feet wet and start seeing some of those tracks that I was going to be racing in the future.
So first time, take me back to the first time you raced at Madison.
Yeah, so Madison, that would have been my first year. They they used to race legend cars at Madison every week back when I was younger, and they have a little quarter mile in the infield there, so that you don't necessarily race on the same track that the Supers race on. You get to run on the front stretch, and that's about it. But my first ever time there, it would have been like my second race ever in a legend car, and I finished second to a guy that had just been running legend cars for a long time, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, I really like that place. That would probably be the trickiest track still to this day that I've ever raced on is the quarter mile at Madison. In a legend car, you don't even get wide open. I mean, you can spin the tires all the way down the straightaway. So it's a really good technical track to work on throttle control and footwork and things like that.
So of course, you know, you're from Wisconsin. What was it like just, you know, just growing up you know, in the area? Just kind of tell me about like, you know, what was life like?
Yeah, so in the terms of racing, Wisconsin, we're spoiled. Super late model racing here is healthy, and it's been healthy for as long as I can remember. There's always big races to go to. I grew up pretty much every year going to the Joe Shear Classic at Madison, which is this upcoming weekend. And yeah, so we went to a lot of races growing up, and could really go anywhere on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night in Wisconsin and go watch a race throughout the summer. And there was always good car counts, good racing. But yeah, before I was racing, I was like any typical kid. I played football, basketball, baseball. And then as I got older and got into legend car racing and we were a little bit more busy with racing in high school, I just stopped football and baseball because they kind of corresponded or conflicted with racing season. So I just did basketball. But yeah, I was a typical kid growing up, just like anybody else, trying all the sports, see what you like. But definitely wasn't an athlete. I'm definitely more of a race car driver.
Yeah. When your friends when you know when you're did you when growing up did you think you know what did your friends think about you know you driving race cars and all that?
Yeah, I think kind of like anybody else's friends, they don't 100% understand it. I had some of them that came to the races more when I got into late models and stuff at the end of high school, but they didn't really understand it. They kind of just thought all racing was like NASCAR. So I don't know. They didn't really 100% understand it, but they thought it was cool that I was doing something different. Obviously, not. There was only one other kid in my school that did it. Was Jacob Nottestead. He was a year younger than me in school,
Yeah.
but yeah, nobody else really understood the racing thing. So yeah, I mean it's all right. It's not a huge deal that they don't understand it, but they still think it's cool and they support whatever you want to do. I had awesome friends that were able to do that.
So let's go back on the career path. So go-karts, you went from there. Where did you Bandoleros, I want to say.
Nope, I went straight to legend cars from go karts, so it
Okay,
was kind
so
of a
you
pretty
went
big
from
jump.
legend so you went from go-karts to legend cars. Sorry, it's all hard to keep track of that everything. So what did you do? So how long did you race legend cars for?
Yeah, so I started when I was 15, and we raced them for 3 full years till I was 17. We won the two state championships or three state championships in legend cars, and then we after that, my last year we won like 8 features, I think. So we decided to move up, and we built a limited late model to race weekly at Jefferson. So from when I was 15 to about 17 is when we raced legend cars.
So what was it like winning so take me through. So someone like you're racing a legend car. What tracks do you go to and like how many races did you do and what was it just like, you know, winning those championships and all that?
Yeah, so in Wisconsin, like down south, they split all the legend divisions up. There's a young lion division, a semi-pro division, pro, and masters. Young lion is obviously 12 to 15-year-olds. Semi-pro is anybody over 15, and then just anybody that gets started out. Pros are like people that have been in legends for a long time, and then masters, I think, are like people that are 35 or older. Well, down south, they get like at the summer shootout, they get like 100 legend cars. So they'll have like 25 cars in each class. Well, up here, they kind of run all the classes together. So you can still win a race like that counts for national points in your division, even though if you finish third in the race, say you're a young lion and you get beat by two semi-pros, you'll still get a credit for a win in the national points. So that's kind of how they do it up here. But we were able to run, I would say, 15 to 25 races a year. We go primarily the track that raced legend cars full time when I was racing was Dells Raceway Park.
Yeah.
Raced up there probably 8 to 10 times a year. And then Jefferson had just started getting going with legend cars like my first year. And we raced there like 4 times my first year, and probably at the end we were probably running there 6 to 8 times as well. It was kind of like half and half with the Dells because they both run Saturday nights. And then Madison, like I said, they used to run Legends full time and on Friday nights, and they kind of backed that down when I started going, and it was like 3 races a year. So we'd run there 3 times a year. And then we also go to Hawkeye Downs, Slinger, and Elko Speedway as well. So yeah, we were able to race a lot of different racetracks across the Midwest, and kind of just get a feel for what traveling across the Midwest is like.
So how old were you when you stopped racing legend cars?
Yeah, I was like 17, I believe. I was a senior in high school.
Yeah.
I think a junior to my senior year in high school. Like that summer between them was my last year racing legend cars, and then after that we went late model racing.
So, you also, when you went late model racing, you also made another big change. You also went to college as well. What was that process like?
Yeah, so like you said, I we built our late model, our first one. We built it between my junior and senior year, and we ran it like two times at the end of my that summer. So like right at the start of my senior year of high school. And then after that, we sold our legend cars that winter, our whole legend card operation, and we went full time into the late model stuff. And yeah, so between my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college was my first full season racing late models. And as you alluded to, yeah, I went to college. I'm just finishing it up my mechanical engineering degree at the Milwaukee School of Engineering. So looking forward to getting that finished up. But yeah, it's a lot of work because I wasn't able to live at home. When I was living at home, I could be in the shop every night. So when I was living an hour and a half away at school, it made it a little bit tougher. But throughout the summer, it's not too bad. It's just at the start of the end of the year, it kind of gets a little bit tough balancing all that.
So how old are you now? For context, how old are you now?
I'm 23, so I took a little bit longer to finish my degree. I did it in 5 years, so it's typically a 4 to 4.5 year degree. I did it in five. Kind of slowed it down a little bit to make sure I could balance everything.
Nothing wrong with that. Um, so what was college like? Just to get the experience of going up there, and it's an engine, obviously you're going for engineering. What was that like, just to go there and experience all that?
Yeah, it's really a different kind of deal. Obviously, it's your first time living out on your own, living in a big city. I come from a town of about 1,000 people, and moving to Milwaukee that has probably about 1 million people in the metropolitan suburbs and everything of Milwaukee. So to go down there and do that was pretty interesting. Open my eyes, do a lot of things. Obviously, college is just you get to see a lot of things for the first time. But yeah, I did that for the last 5 years, but I didn't really get to experience the whole college life per se because um, I was home every weekend. I'd come home every single weekend pretty much to work on the race cars. I think I've stayed at college like maybe 3 weekends my whole career at college. But yeah, it teaches you a lot about yourself. You really have to dig deep, especially in engineering school. Some of those classes are so difficult, and really have to dig deep to make sure you can get through them. And it's all worth it in the end, I'm pretty sure.
So what was the toughest class that you took?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I've taken a lot of hard classes. I would say probably the hardest class I took was auto control systems just this past fall. It was one of the last courses I had to take on my mechanical engineering track, where you kind of design different controllers that can do different things like fluid power systems and things of that sort. So learning how those work and PID controls and different things like that. It's pretty in-depth stuff, and it was a very hard class.
So like what was that, what do they do, like what are some of the things that you had to do to design, for maybe for people that might not understand, because you were telling me all this stuff, I'm like, I don't understand any of this. So what does that do, like, designing all those parts? What are they for?
So yeah, in mechanical engineering, it's a pretty wide array. Like there's different facets of engineering. Like electrical engineering is obviously just like electrical systems and things like that. Well, mechanical engineering is a pretty wide array of stuff. And there's like three different facets to it. There's like a materials track, which is like just different sorts of materials like casting and things like that, like how you would manufacture casting and things like that, or manufacture things that are cast, or different types of manufacturing processes. And then there's the mechanics track, which is like designing different things based on like the material stresses, strains, things like that. So like you could design like a set of gears, for example. Like that was kind of the capstone class for that. Was design a machine components. So you could design gears or design springs or design linkages or things like that. And then the other track is like energy. So thermodynamics, fluid dynamics, and you can design like HVAC systems or heat transfer, anything of that sort. So really mechanical engineering, that's kind of why I went into it, is because it's a wide array of stuff. You can really do really anything you want with the degree. You can kind of get into any field. And I wanted to do that because I didn't 100% know what I wanted to do when I got out of school. I knew I was good at math and science in high school. So I wanted to leave my doors open, and I'm definitely glad I did it.
Yeah. So so tell me, like, when you're running these late models, when did you first, I know you have some I know you have some you've been able to get have a lot of connections in the racing world. Tell me how you first met like guys like Ty Majeski and Derek Kraus. By the way, Derek Kraus is who you're actually spotting for this weekend at Joe Shear.
Yeah. So yeah, I met Ty and Derek, both of them through iRacing. I got pretty big into iRacing kind of right when I first started racing legend cars. My mom thought it would probably be a good idea if I got on there, and because legend cars were on iRacing, so I was able to get laps in legend cars the whole winter before I raced legend cars in real life, and I really felt like it helped get me up to speed pretty quick and get a feel of things, and felt like I was way ahead of my competition who didn't do iRacing that was just starting at the same time as me. So yeah, I've been iRacing since I was probably a freshman in high school. I used to do it quite a bit like that before I got real busy into super late racing and things. Used to race a lot, late model, short track stuff on there. And I just met Ty and Derek over the years because they were running a lot of the same races as me, and we got to become friends. And then we got to be working on setups and things together like that. So yeah, now we talk all pretty much every day, and we all race together when we can still on iRacing, and keep up with each other's real racing too.
Yeah. So yeah, I know they've both I know the three of you have helped each other out with a lot of things. I mean, I know that I think Ty helped you out at one point in a few weeks ago, and then obviously you're going to be Derek's spotter for the Joe Shear Classic.
Yeah, Ty was offered to come help me at Slinger. Slinger is obviously, as you guys know, it's a very unique racetrack, and I don't have a ton of experience there. And he thought it would be great to come and help me and kind of just help get me up to speed and some little pointers that he's had. Obviously, he's won a couple Slinger Nationals now, so he knows every nook and cranny of that place. So he was able to help kind of get me up to speed a little bit with different situations and traffic and restarts and building heat for qualifying, just different tips he was able to give me for that stuff. And that was awesome. I've helped Ty before. I went to the Snowball Derby with the Billy Bigley race at Punta Gorda, as well as Battle at Berlin, Slinger Nationals. So I've helped him quite a bit. Then last year I was at the Snowball Derby with Derek, and I also went back to the first Stars National Tour race in Pensacola this March with Derek. So yeah, I just like to help him out when I can. Sometimes Ty's short on help and he needs a hand, or sometimes Derek's short on help and he needs a hand. So this weekend Derek needed a spotter, so I'm looking forward to doing it. Obviously, I'd love to be racing, but still to be there and be involved in the race is cool nonetheless.
So when you ran a limited late model, how long did you do that?
So we've actually still got a limited late model, but full time we ran it for 2 years, and we ran 2 full-time seasons at Jefferson.
Okay.
My second full-time season, we kind of traveled a little bit also, ran some of the big 8 late model series schedule, as well as some races at Madison, went to Oktoberfest at the end of the year. But yeah, the first year we finished 5th in points, won a feature, and won the Rookie of the Year. That was a tough class that year when I first started over to Jefferson. There was a lot of veteran drivers. I was probably like the only driver under 30. Everybody had been over there racing for a long time. And after that, the next year we got an early tight points battle, almost won the championship. I think we finished second by like 10 points or something like that in 2019, that would have been. And then we were able to cap off that year and win in 2 out of the 3 features at the Wisconsin State Championships, and had some real good battles with guys like Casey Johnson and people like that. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, then after that, we kind of dabbled. We were part-time in the late model and part-time in the super after that.
So where are you at now?
So yeah, now we've been primarily focused on the super lates. Last year we're trying to race a late model, and we bought a car from the Quapples at the start of last year, and with some supply chain stuff, we weren't able to get a motor till the middle of the year, and we were in the middle of racing our super quite a bit, and it just got to the point where we were just putting it together when we had time between super late races. We were, without rainouts, we would have ran probably about 20 super late races last year, and a lot of them got rained out. But yeah, so we were trying to do that, and so last year, 2021, which would have been I still had a Pathfinder late model, and we were running that a little bit, but we also had our first Toby car from Ty Majeski and Toby Noodleman, and we were able to run the Tundra Series full time that year and win the championship. Then last season we were trying to repeat with the Tundra Series, and we also ran the full Alive for 5 series with our super late, as well as probably about half the Midwest Tour. So we were real busy last year racing the super late stuff, and this year we're trying to scale that back a little bit with our quantity of super late races. Still race 10 to 15 of them, but really hit hard trying to race as many late model races as we can and get a lot of feature races in this year.
Yeah. When did you first find out about this, the Quickie Driver Development Program?
Honestly, I'm pretty sure I found out about it the first year it happened. I didn't really know Ty personally at the time, but I knew of him and I kind of followed him a little bit throughout what the races he was doing. And when he won it in 2015 was probably the first time I heard about it. And I thought it was pretty cool. And definitely it was something that if I ever got into late models, it was something I really wanted to do.
Yeah. So, when you applied that first year, what was that like just going through 2022? What did you experience that year? What were some of the biggest things that you learned that year?
Yeah, 2022 was the first year I'd made it. I was semifinalist a couple years before that, so I kind of been through the process. But 2022, I learned a lot. Seeing it from the outside looking in is a lot different than being in the program, and I felt like I learned a lot in 2022 being a part of the program, from how I want to set up my season, how I want to kind of do things like that to maximize my opportunities to have good results and still race good competition, but have good results as well. And I kind of learned a lot about myself off the track too, how to balance life racing and trying to balance my life and make sure I'm still doing good things in the community and trying to promote Alan's legacy as well. I learned a lot on that side of, we did some programs I thought that went really well, and we had some programs that I thought didn't go as well. So just trying to figure out what went well and build on that, and then adjust what didn't go well and add some new things this year as well as our biggest focus.
Yeah. Did you think that, when you applied for, to be part of it again, what made you decide to I want to do this again?
Yeah, obviously just seeing the recognition that people that have won it got. I mean, it's a dream of mine to win this program, and to do it as a person from Wisconsin would be even bigger. I believe 3 people have won it so far from Wisconsin. So to add my name to that list would be really cool. And I just really enjoyed being a part of it last year. I thought it was a great way for our team to get recognized. We're not necessarily a team that can afford to race at the national level, but we're able to get national recognition by being in a program like this. We'll still race in regionally. So that, and it was just awesome to meet all the people and try to just do good in my community and around and promote Alan's legacy. I just thought it was an awesome group to be a part of, and I really didn't want to not do it again. I wanted to make sure I could try to get in again and see if we can give it another shot, because I felt like last year things didn't go our way. We had a lot of bad luck, and I felt like our team was better than what we were able to show last year, and we want to give it a better effort this year and just hopefully have a little more luck on our side as well.
Did you think you were going to be a finalist in 2023?
I wasn't really 100% sure. We had a decent year last year. We didn't have as good of a year as 2021. So on the track, I felt like we had an all right year. We showed some speed at some races, struggled at some, and we weren't able to win the Tundra Championship again. We finished 3rd in the points last year instead of being able to back it up like we were hoping to. But yeah, there was a really good class of semifinalists and a lot of tough kids. I mean, there's a lot of good young race car drivers across the country, and now I'm kind of the old guy in the program too. I looked at when the semifinalist list came out, and I was 23, and I saw a kid that was born in 2008 on there. I was like, oh boy. But yeah, so obviously there's a lot of good young talent across the country, and to be able to set myself apart from a group like that and be a part of the final 7 was really cool. Like I said, I didn't 100% know. I felt like my interview and the process went well, but obviously you still have to get voted in by the board. So yeah, I wasn't 100% sure, but felt good about my chances when I was going through the interview process.
Okay. Well, now that you are a finalist, the first day of competition, you made a big announcement, of course, talking about your Racing for Kids program. I know you did something similar to that last year, but what's it going to be like this time around? Just kind of explain what you're going to kind of do with that.
Yeah. So last year we had the program, and it's for the American Family Children's Hospital in Madison, Wisconsin. Their greatest need fund. So it kind of is a fund that allows them to put money where they need it most in the hospital. So it's not going to a specific place. So I thought that was a good fund to want to raise money for. But yeah, basically last year it was set up where how I ran. So basically people could pledge money for every lap, but the better I ran on that lap, I would have raised more money basically. So if I was leading a lap, I would have raised more money than if I was running 10th on that lap. And I felt like it kind of confused people a little bit. So we kind of simplified it a little bit this year, where it's just, you just pledge a flat rate for every lap I run. So every feature event lap. So say I run 1,500 laps of feature racing in a season and somebody pledges $1, they'd be donating $1,500, or 10 cents, they'd be donating $150. So yeah, we're doing a kind of push for that for the start of the year through April and May. Anybody that signs up before the end of May is in a raffle drawing for a door off of one of my race cars. So I felt like that was pretty cool. People really like to have those. Not a ton of people are able to have race car doors hanging on their walls. So trying to do that and promote that program. And throughout here through the first part of the season. That's kind of our main focus on fundraising, and then hopefully to get a good jump start on that. And then throughout the rest of the year, we're going to be doing other fundraisers month by month as well.
All right. Well, like we did in the last one, let's get to know you a little bit, Riley. How about that?
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Okay, so what is your are you watching more streaming shows or more YouTube shows?
Oh, I would have to say YouTube. I don't really watch any series per se. I kind of just watch random videos on YouTube. I watch main show I watch is the Pat McAfee show.
Okay.
I watch that. It's a sports show on YouTube every day. I like watching that. I'm kind of big in football. And then I guess I would say mostly I'm a podcast person. I do a lot of driving right now. I don't have an apartment down at school, so I drive back and forth an hour to school every single day because I'm only taking 1 or 2 classes to finish up. So it just kind of makes a little more sense to be able to be home every night in the shop. So I pretty much listen to all like the Dirty Mo Media podcasts. I listen to Door Bumper Clear and Denny Hamlin's new podcast and Dale Jr. Download. I like listening to those because they're about an hour and a half long and they kind of work out perfect for my drive, which is about an hour and a half. So I listen to those, and then I guess another series I watch the Hunt the Front series on YouTube. I'm kind of big into watching them. I don't know. I think the dirt late model stuff is pretty cool, and it's kind of cool to see a different side of late model racing as well.
Okay. If you're not working on the car, what are you doing?
Ooh, I work on the car quite a bit, so that's a lot of my time. But I like iRacing, like I said. I like to relax too. Me and my girlfriend go do stuff. She's in college and works full time too, so she's pretty busy. But yeah, we like to just hang out with friends. I've got some friends that live pretty close to me that I like to spend time with as well. So pretty much most of my time in the summer, spring, and fall is working on the race car. In the winter, we have some free weekends, so we still are in the shop all the time, but we have some free weekends. So yeah, I just like to hang out with friends a little bit. I race when I can because obviously I don't live near Ty or Derek or some of our other buddies on there, so it's kind of fun to get on there and race together every night or whenever we can. So yeah, I would say that's kind of mostly how I spend my time.
Okay. And last thing, name 3 things people might not know about Riley Stenjem.
Oh boy. Ooh, this is tough. Ooh, I don't know. I guess people probably don't know my favorite food is tacos. I don't know if people would expect that. I probably look like a person that would like steak or something like that, or burgers, being from Wisconsin, or brats or something. But my favorite food is tacos. Ooh. I just about started racing dirt cars. People probably don't know that. When we were moving out of go-karts, we were between a micro sprint, like a 600cc micro sprint, like they run at Millbridge, or a asphalt legend car. And I was kind of, at the time, I was 12 years old, but I was still kind of a bigger person. And they were kind of small for me at the time, like with all the leg room and stuff like that in them. So we decided to go to the asphalt route. I guess that's probably something people don't know. Then, I don't know about a third one. I guess, I guess something that I didn't even know about myself. This is kind of weird. People might think this is weird, but my thumbs are different lengths. Like my left thumb is a little bit like maybe like a centimeter shorter than my right thumb, and I didn't notice it till I was like a freshman in high school. One of my friends pointed it out to me. I just never noticed it. If you put your thumbs down, and mine, it's like a centimeter different. I don't know if you can see it here, but yeah, I never noticed that before in my life. I don't know how it happened or what happened, but yeah, they're about a centimeter different. Just something that most people don't have. So I thought that was kind of something interesting too.
I just looked at mine and they're about the same. So yeah.
I think most people's are.
Yeah. Okay. Riley Stenjem, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. And we will have you on throughout the year, and best of luck. Also, when is your next race?
Our plan right now, we just got a motor. So I guess I didn't really touch on that. We made that Alan Kowicki car as our pro late model, limited late model car, the throwback 28 Hardy Scheme car. Well, we had it done at the end of the year last year, and we're going to take it to Oktoberfest. Blew the motor up in it after we had waited all like half the summer to get a motor for it. It was a Chevy crate motor, and they were all backed up. Well, so we finally got a motor here at the start of the season. We were able to put some sponsorship together to get it, and we got it on Monday. We were hoping to race this weekend, but I've got a big exam tomorrow at we were hoping to race this weekend at Jefferson, but I've got a big exam tomorrow. So we're going to make our debut with it next weekend at Jefferson is our plan. Go over and hopefully test early in the week and kind of make sure we have all our ducks in a row for that. And then we're going to be full steam ahead with that car here throughout the month of May and keep going throughout the season. We're going to race quite a bit with it, probably 20 times or so this year. So looking forward to it.
All right. Riley, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Awesome. Sounds good.